Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I thought I would go over my London UK pen show haul of October 2018. Now there were 3 pens that I purchased at the show, and then everything else really were in like 3 days leading up to the show, and I'll tell you why I did that. But let's go into a few details here. So in the lead up to the pen show, I decided that I would rather than buying pens at the show, because I'd kind of really exhausted most of my budget prior to the show, I thought I would buy some ink instead. And that seemed to be a really, really good idea until that little devil that was sitting on my left shoulder said, well, how are you going to carry it? Because at the show, I was going to be videoing most of the time. And I was going to be holding a gimbal where my camera would be mounted to. And I probably would need 2 of my hands a lot of the time. So I thought, well, okay, maybe it's not a good idea to buy ink at the show then. And I thought, well, I can still put it in my rucksack, that's not a problem. I can just chuck the bottles in there and carry them around, although I wanted to try and really sort of be as lightweight as possible. And then that little red devil on my shoulder yet again said, well, that's all fine and good, but what happens if one of those glass bottles smashes, or one of the plastic bottles crack, or the lids aren't screwed on tightly, or they're over-tightened, and they start to leak, and then I'm going to have a very inky mess inside my rucksack, and I have the water vent holes at the bottom of the rucksack, and I will be dripping ink everywhere. So at that point I thought, well, you know what, let's not buy any ink at the pen show, let's just go and buy the ink that I want ahead of time, a few days prior. So I decided to buy a number of inks that people had written to me with recently, and these were some Robert Oster and some Diamine inks. So the inks here, I got Robert Oster Bondi Blue, the Australian Sky Blue, and the Blue Water Ice. Now, I've written with the Australian Sky Blue, and I really do like that. And then the other 2 inks I got were Diamine Marine and Diamine Soft Mint. Now, I also, at that point, thought, well, okay, there's a couple of other things in my shopping cart that I've been looking at, or in my wish list for a while now. So I decided to add those as well. And so one of the items was this, and it came with a free bottle of ink. You can see there, black ink. And this was a manuscript pen, and it's a dip pen. So I wanted to try out a dip pen. I wanted to try out copper plate or round hand, and so I got a number of nibs. Now I've already been testing these nibs. You can see here I've actually got gold ink left on some of these nibs, but it's just a dip pen. So I thought I would get that, and then also at the same time, there was also a free bottle of calligraphy ink, and I decided I'd go for the gold ink, and this is really lovely gold ink. So this bottle came free, so that was kind of worth it, really. And also the weekend prior, I was kind of enabled for this, and this is a ink blotter or desk blotter. And this was, Jackie had one at our UK Southampton Pen Club. And I've seen these before at Bespoke British Pens, and they're selling these. And these really are gorgeous sort of pewter rockers. And the idea basically is you unscrew this, and then you can take the whole thing off, and then change your blotting paper, and then you just screw it back on again, and there you go. But I really liked. I've seen this a lot of times, and every time I've gone to buy a Conway Stewart from Bespoke British Pens, I decided that I would get one, and I never did. And I heard that the stocks were getting a little bit low on these, so I decided, well, let's just get one whilst I can. So I'm glad I picked this one up as well. So again, technically not from the show, but it's being classed by me as my pen show haul. So and then I also picked up these 3 lovely pens, and these are, zoom out a little bit, pens that I did pick up at the show. And so let me just put these two to a side at the moment. Now this is the Stilograph Corsani Etruria, and this is made out of ebonite, and it's made by Stipula. It comes in a steel, a titanium flex nib. I think the steel nibs are steel flex nib as well, and then a gold 14 karat flex nib. And I went round the show 3 times, and I hadn't seen any pen that really spoke to me. And I'd already seen these with Stefano at Stilograph Corsani. And I decided, well, you know what? Like I've been thinking about picking up at least 1, if not 2 of these, and you can almost get 2 steel nib versions versus 1 gold nib version for the price. So I was still umming and ahhing about whether or not to get a gold nib version or a steel nib version. Stefano did me a really good deal. I went for the gold nib version, and it wasn't that much more than the steel nib version, and it was really good. So I'm really pleased about this. And as I said, it is a 14 karat nib. The pen is made of ebonite and has an ebonite feed as well, and it is a lovely nib. So I do like this. I got it in a medium nib. And I tend to, like, I've never written with a Stipula before, so I decided that I would get a medium, because that's normally what I do if I've never written with one. And there you go, you can actually see the engraving there, and also around here, just about see Stipula there. So, but yeah, it's a really nice pen. So there you go. Corsani there with the number 7 of 90. And it's a piston filler. It's got an ink window. I wasn't too sure about this ink window to start with, but I do like the pen. I like how it writes. So whilst I was there, also I was looking at a number of other Leonardo pens, and there was the new Leonardo special edition acrylic with the steel nib, and it was gorgeous. I really liked the look of it, and I also saw this one as well, and this was the celluloid version with a gold nib, piston filler, and this is called the Leonardo Momento Zero Mediterraneo or Mediterranean, and you can see here, because of the material it's just like sea waves. It's gorgeous, and the chatoyance on that is beautiful. And I decided at that point, well, I know what the price of this is. I don't think I will be able to afford both, or want to afford both, more to the point, because I wasn't supposed to be buying any pens. And I just asked Stefano what sort of price could he do for the 2, and immediately I was about to say, yep, no, that's thanks for the offer, but that's it. But then Stefano did me a really good price, and I decided, well, okay, the steel nib version is out, and I'll get this version. I kind of now actually wish I did get the steel nib version as well. I could have afforded it. I didn't. I went and walked around the show a little bit more, And I decided I was doing some more videoing and being pinged a lot by friends, and I at that point came across John Twist's table again, which was about the third or fourth time. And I was looking at a number of his water acrylic pens, and they were really nice, but I just wasn't sure. They were just under £200, and the price is fine for them, but I just wasn't too sure. I thought the sections were a little bit thin and short. They weren't the ones that were on are available on the table in the colour that I wanted. Just didn't speak to me. And then I was just looking, and I was just about to walk away, and then I started looking at some of the Danny Trios that John Twist had, and he had this one, and this is the Danny Trio Bamboo Tamanuri Kidami, and this is a gorgeous pen. You would think that this is actually a bamboo shoot. It's not. It's actually made of ebonite, and there are lots and lots and lots of urushi lacquer layers mounted on top of each other to create this sort of bulbous effect, and very much like a bamboo shoot. And it's a gorgeous pen. I love this red. I always love the Tamanuri, and you can see the artist's signature there as well on the pen. It is a gorgeous pen. And the other thing that I do like about this as well, it's an eyedropper, but it has a number 8 size nib, and I am liking number 8 size nibs more lately. So I have those in my Armando Simone clubs, and I really do like them. Now this pen doesn't post, but as you can see, you don't need to, because it is a really long, chunky pen. And I got this in a fine nib. It didn't come. There was only a fine nib available, so I got that, and it is an eyedropper. It holds around about 3 milliliters of ink, and it's just a stunning pen. So that really was my London UK fountain pen show haul, and I really hadn't planned on buying 3 pens. I kind of wanted to. I was going to see. I had the money, but I decided I was just going to see what was available, and I knew most of the pens I was looking at wouldn't be there, and they weren't. But I had already been looking at the Leonardo and the Corsani a few weeks prior, and seriously considering picking them up. And I thought, well, if I pick them up at the show, I save international shipping rates, so I actually save money on it, and I saved more money at the show on the pen itself as well, on both pens. So I think I did quite good. I bought 1 pen more than the previous year, but I actually spent less than the previous year. So I don't know. I think I came away pretty good on that front. So yeah, so this really is the pen show haul. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.